Hi everyone, it's Mary Kay Riley. I am a 4-H program assistant at the Campbell County Extension Office. I'm relatively new, so if my face is not familiar to you yet, it's very nice to meet you. A couple things before we get started. So I'm going to start doing these science-y videos about once or twice a week, trying to put out some fun things for you and your kids to do while we're all kind of stuck at home. Some fun things that you might be able to do outside, some fun things related to the subjects that we're going to talk about. So today, we're going to focus on fun chemical reactions or fun do-it-yourself experiments that all you really need is stuff that is found in your kitchen, like I am currently in. So my two reactions that I've chosen to do are relatively simple. They're things I've seen in numerous places, and you may have as well, but they're still fun to do even if they have been done before. This is something, if you really enjoy this video, you can just keep watching the video. It's going to be on Facebook and our YouTube channel. Please make sure to like us on Campbell County 4-H for the Facebook page, and find us on YouTube and subscribe. I am not the only program assistant doing videos, so keep an eye out. There'll be lots of fun stuff to do. I know there's already a yoga exercise on YouTube, as well as a what floats your boat activity. Both of those are very fun, so go ahead and check those out as well. So we're gonna go ahead and get started. So my first reaction is something that you may have heard of before or seen before. That's totally fine. It's still fun. Add a little fun little twist to it. And this is something you can absolutely do and make bigger. So what is going to happen is I'm going to take some baking soda and some vinegar, and I'm going to blow up my balloon here. I've actually seen this done with a 2-liter bottle and a balloon as well. So if that's something you want to try at home, go for it. Send me videos, send me pictures. I'll include my email in the description, as well as if you would like to comment or post those pictures and videos on Facebook and YouTube, go ahead. So what's happened is I've taken a Coke bottle and put a little bit of vinegar in the bottom. So I like the Coke bottle because the reaction produces what we call carbon dioxide. It's a gas. A lot of you know what this is because it's what we breathe out every time we breathe. That is the gas that we breathe out. So I'm just creating that in a different way. So I'm going to take my balloon, which again is filled with baking soda, and I'm going to put this over top this Coke bottle that has vinegar sitting in the bottom. Right now, nothing's happening. The cool thing about this setup is you get to control when the reaction actually starts, because you're in control of when this vinegar and this baking soda meet, because this baking soda is still stuck in the balloon until I tip it over. Kind of fun. You can always do this multiple times and take turns with who does put the baking soda into the vinegar. Again, this is something that you can do on a bigger scale, and you'll get a larger reaction. So I'm going to go ahead and show you what's going to happen. So we'll go ahead and tip this baking soda into our vinegar. Pretty cool. Easy way to blow up some balloons if you're not feeling like blowing them up yourself. So like I said, I created carbon dioxide. It had nowhere else to go except into this balloon, and therefore it expanded and made the balloon blow up. Pretty cool. And again, if you want to try this with 2 liters and maybe do it outside, send pictures, send videos. We love to see what you guys are doing at home. My second reaction is something called elephant toothpaste. This is something that's becoming more and more popular because this is something that you can create a huge reaction with, and a lot of people love it. It's fun, it's exciting, it's cool, and it's a little fun to play with because there's some foam at the end. Just keep in mind, if you do play around with any of these substances, make sure you wash your hands. This is all stuff that, again, you can find in your home. It isn't necessarily harmful, but just make sure you wash your hands. You don't want to eat after playing with some of the stuff. Just keep that in mind. So my next reaction, I'm going to go ahead and start. So I'll tell you what's in my Dr. Pepper bottle. Again, using repurposed soda bottles is a great way to get some of your recycling out of the way, and great use for these bottles. So inside of my Dr. Pepper bottle, you'll notice that there is a green liquid hanging out in the bottom. This is hydrogen peroxide, little bit of dish soap, and and some food coloring. That's all that's in here. Those 3 things are in here mixed together. That's why it's a little foamy, because the dish soap got stirred up and bubbles happened. Now, inside of my glass that I'm going to pour into my Dr. Pepper bottle, looks a little gross, looks like weird milk, is actually yeast and warm water. Now, a lot of yeast needs warm water to wake up the yeast. So yeast is a very tiny little microbe that we use to make bread. That's where most people know it from. He actually looks like this little guy, but much smaller and no googly eyes. But basically, this thing goes into your bread. It's what makes your bread, and it's what makes your bread rise. So what's going to happen is I'm going to add my yeast to my hydrogen peroxide and dish soap and food coloring mixture, and we'll see what happens. One quick note, I know I included this on the write-up, but just in case you've decided to do this at home, make sure that your water is not too hot. If it's too hot, you might kill off some of the yeast, and you may not see the reaction that you're hoping for. If it's too cold, again, you're not going to wake the yeast up. It needs to be like warm, not too hot, not too cold, kind of just right at that perfect temperature. So I'm going to go ahead and pour my yeast and water into my soda bottle, and we'll see what happens. So, as I mentioned before, this is elephant toothpaste. This is messy, so if you are going to do this experiment, I suggest doing it outside or do it in a casserole dish like I have to kind of help collect that messy. This one is fun because a lot of people have seen very explosive reactions. As you can see, we had a milder one. That's because it was on a smaller scale than some of the big ones that are out there on the internet. If you're super curious what those look like, go ahead and go look for them. They're pretty cool to watch. So what happened here is on a regular basis, hydrogen peroxide breaks down into oxygen when it comes into contact with sunlight. So basically the sunlight hits the hydrogen peroxide and breaks it down, and as a result we get oxygen. Oxygen, again, is a naturally occurring gas that we breathe in on a regular basis. This is just another way that oxygen is made. The interesting thing about that is why we put our hydrogen peroxide in these brown bottles. It prevents that from happening. So what just happened in this reaction is I took that hydrogen peroxide out of that brown bottle, which meant it was exposed to light, which meant that it was going to start breaking down into oxygen. What we've done by adding the yeast to this experiment is we've sped up that reaction. It's happened a lot quicker because of the yeast. The yeast sped it up. The yeast kind of put it into motion so that you saw a bigger reaction than what you would have seen if you just left hydrogen peroxide sitting, because you wouldn't have seen anything. The soap was literally just a way to add some bubbles and some fun to it, and the water was just to wake up the yeast. Green food coloring, I just decided to color it green because 4-H. That is the basis of this experiment. It's kind of fun. Again, this is one that I've seen very explosive reactions with, so if you want to try this at home and try and get a big reaction, let me know. It just takes a little bit more of your resources than this reaction did. As I mentioned, the instructions for both of the experiments will be included in the description of the video. I will also be including a link to a lot of spring science ideas you can do with your kids at home, so giving you more ideas of things you can do that are all sciencey, and something that you guys can do as a family. Maybe take a break from learning and those NTI stuff to do something a little bit more fun. Remember, we have our craft bags available from 9 to 4 every day. If those stop being put out, just keep an eye on the Facebook page. We're doing our best to make sure that those are available on a regular basis. That is the end of my experiments for the day. So just remember to keep kind of following us on Facebook for more fun activities that we're going to do. Watch us on YouTube. Subscribe if you can. And keep an eye out, because I will be back later this week or next week with another fun science video. I hope you enjoyed and have a great day.